Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're continuing with our wide receiver rankings for Fantasy Football 2021 season. Here we go. We want to help you win your draft to win your league. Let's get this Fantasy Football podcast started right meow.
Hey everyone, I am Justin. Kyle points at himself, and this is the Fantasy Football Upside. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. We've been hitting you this week with our top wide receivers and our newest two early rankings for the 2021 Fantasy Football season. And today, we're going to go through wide receivers 18 through 13. Definitely check out the previous episodes from this week by clicking the links in the description below. Kyle, what you got before we get
You can also
right
click
into
up
it?
above. Click up above.
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys,
Up
we're here to
above.
help you this season. We want to help you make it to that
championship.
That's right. So make sure that you click the like button down below. And then while you're down there, you can go ahead and comment. You can just, guess how heavy you think I am, how much you think I weigh. Let's see what that is. All right. All right. So, hey.
Yeah, only in kilograms, though.
Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, only in kilograms. So this cool shirt, though. Check this out,
Ooh.
Justin. You see this?
Ooh.
That's
Ooh,
right.
that's nice.
That's right.
Ooh,
It's
that's
on
nice.
our website. It is our own design, guys. It's 0RB 3 times over because, we're big 0RB believers, right? But you can wear it to
Right.
your draft and have everybody thinking, is he gonna,
You're going to do that?
is a running back going to fall to me? And then you're going to break their heart. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's actually a pretty cool shirt. It's really comfortable. I love the fabric. I think it's kind of nice. It's a little athletic fit, so it's snug up top. Whatever.
What kind of? It's regular cotton, but
It's regular cotton.
It's not velvet.
No, it is not. It is not.
What is that, velvet?
Yeah, no, it's not velvet. You just punch me in the face with that drop, right? All right, guys, let's get into this. Let's get into our rankings. All right, so we're starting off here with wide receiver 18. Justin, who do you have?
I have CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. Man, talk about a good rookie season, especially only having Dak for the 5 games. But in those 5 games, CeeDee was wide receiver 11. Without Dak, wide receiver 31. So even though Dak was out for most of the season, he was still startable in 7 of the 16 games. He actually had 3 wide receiver 1 finishes as well. I think a healthy Dak, a healthy offensive line, a very pass-happy offense. I look at CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper as 1A and 1B right now. And who knows, that could change even more. You got Amari on one side, you got Michael Gallup on the other, and CeeDee Lamb's just eating in the middle, man. This is going to be a great season for him.
Yeah. Speaking of Amari Cooper, right? That's who
Hey.
we have as our wide receiver 17. Last year, he finished as wide receiver 19 in our 2020 power rankings. He also had 10 startable finishes in 15 games, but only one of those turned out to be elite. So the way that we quantify startable games, if you haven't been paying attention to our rankings, is that in wide receiver, they need to finish as wide receiver 1, 2, or 3 for you. So they were actually startable. They didn't put up a dud week for you. They were comparable to other players that way. An elite week is if they're finishing top 6 in their position. And he only had one of those. You would expect a little more out of Amari Cooper, but again, as Justin pointed out, he only had Dak Prescott it was less than 5 full games. He did get hurt in that 5th
Right.
game. So he only really had him for 4 games. That's not great. He did get, though, on the other hand, 130 targets, had over 1,100 yards. You got to imagine that's probably going to get better with Dak. They worked out really well the year before. When he came over during that trade from the Raiders at the time they were the Oakland Raiders, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it probably gets better. There is going to be some fighting here as to who's going to be the top dog. I have seen a lot of people saying that they think that this offense is just going to be super explosive. I think with regard to wide receivers, I think at least 2 are going to be supported. The question is which 2 of the 3. I think that Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are the guys who get it done this year. So that's who I'm going with, and I think that's who Justin's going to go with, right? All right, so let's hit up wide receiver 16, right?
Yes, sir. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Just a little bit. Julio Jones, Tennessee Titans. Last year with the Falcons, he was startable in 6 of the 9 games. The biggest thing I saw is he was wide receiver 3 in the games that he played in full, so he didn't come out with that hamstring. So that was 7 games that he played in full. He was still wide receiver 3, so he could still get it done. People will label him as an injury prone and everything like that, but out of a 10-year career, I think he's played 14 or more games in 7 of those 10. So that's still pretty darn good. My question is, Kyle, is he going to be the second option behind AJ Brown?
I think so.
I mean, he did kind of take a little step back with Calvin Ridley on the Falcons. So I know this is kind of AJ Brown's team, but I mean, AJ Brown was really tooting the horn to get him over here. So I think he's still going to have quite a bit of options for him. Even though this is a run-heavy team, I think maybe they were going to pass a little bit more when you have AJ Brown on one and Julio on the other.
Yeah, and last year we were talking about it possibly being Ridley's year, right? We were saying that there's going to be a time when there's a passing of the mantle. We thought could be injury related, could just be age related, and he starts slowing down. So we thought it would be sometime during last year. We didn't expect that we would be correct exactly, but he was still pretty solid. I mean, for the most part, Julio was when he was able to play. So
yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go. Wide receiver 15. There you go.
Here we go.
All right, wide receiver 15 is Tyler Lockett for us. Last year he finished as wide receiver 14 in the 2020 power rankings, and that's one I didn't talk about actually. We have power rankings that we developed. It's an algorithm that involves a lot of different metrics based on last year and kind of how we project them to finish this year incorporated into it, and as a result, it gives us our power rankings. It leans in a couple different directions on different metrics heavily. That's going to be available in our premium resources here shortly on our website. So you can go to ffb.com, ffbupside.com, and you'll be able to check that out actually there if you're a member. He had 6 startable games in 16 that he actually played in last year. He did finish with 2 elite games. And I know that this doesn't sound like it's a great number, right? 6 startable games doesn't sound wonderful, but wide receivers kind of hit and miss. Even the good ones are. I mean, I think that you'll see our top guy, if you keep watching, hanging around with us here, you'll see that our top guy just absolutely obliterated the field, that he was an outlier in a lot of different metrics when it came to startable games. Whereas Tyler Lockett is actually he's kind of on the back end of the top level of players. So I wouldn't put him in tier 1, but I'd put him at the back of tier 2, high end tier 3, depending on how you break your tiers down. He had 132 targets. You can't ignore that. He got 100 catches. That's great. And he broke 1,000 yards. The issue I have is the same one I had with Amari Cooper. You got another guy who's going to start eating. It's DK Metcalf. He was, I think, number 2 in targets, but number 1 in catches, or the other way around for them last year. And he ended up, I think DK had more yardage than Lockett. So I think the mantle is passed here. Lockett is still solid. He's one of those underrated guys that just kind of flies under the radar always. And I don't know exactly why, but he just kind of seems to slide by first, that first grouping of guys, but he always seems to perform top wide receiver 2 level. So he very
him
well
and Robert Woods, man, they're like the same guy when it comes to being underrated constantly. Every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Well, it's funny because, the best part of Robert Woods was always his consistency. And then last year he was anything but consistent, right? He did have some really good explosive games, but he was very inconsistent. And he was always consistent before. Lockett, I think, was a bit of the same story, but he's always had a little bit more of an explosiveness to him, I feel.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's talk about our draft kit, right? We've got the Victory Draft Kit coming out here this week. It's coming, actually, I think it's dropping today. So win your draft to win your league, guys. Go get the 2021 Victory Draft Kit. You can pick it up at ffbupside.com, or you can catch it at patreon.com/fantasyfootballupside. Make sure you sign up for the right tier level to guarantee that you actually get the draft kit included. It's going to include all kinds of information that is necessary for you to win your draft this year, guys. You're going to be able to get all of our pre-draft rankings for standard, half PPR, PPR, power rankings from 2020, which I just talked about a little bit, our player consistency grades, which is something that's new for us. You're also going to find all of our sleepers, deep sleepers, underrated players, overrated players, fades, hidden gems, all kinds of metrics. You're going to see vacated targets, vacated touches on each team so that you can figure out where the players have the most opportunity available to them as they've gotten added, or maybe you expect them to grow. So make sure you head over to ffbupside.com. You'll be able to get that starting today. And you can also catch it, again, like I said, over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fantasyfootballupside. All right, let's move on here. We've got, we're on wide receiver 14, right?
Wide receiver 14. I got Scary Terry McLaurin, the Washington football team.
Oh, there we go.
There it
Sorry.
is. You're good. Number 14 is Scary Terry McLaurin of the Washington football team. Startable in 10 of 15 games. I mean, that's pretty darn good. You talked about how wide receivers could, it's kind of hit or miss when it comes to some startable games, but he had 3 wide receiver 1 finishes as well. In our power rankings, our 2020 power rankings, he was wide receiver 21. And this is the biggest thing I look at. I mean, Terry McLaurin is known for a deep threat, but he was putting up these numbers with predominantly a conservative quarterback in Alex Smith towards the end of last year. And now he's going to the, no risk and no biscuit QB in Fitzmagic. So I think deep targets are going to go up for McLaurin, and I think you could see some explosive plays out of him, even more than what we saw last year.
Yeah, the issue I think that I have is that Washington's got a pretty good defense. They've been doing really well, and so the issue is going to be they're going to be. I think that they're going to make the offense a little bit more conservative as a game goes along. So game script is my concern with Terry McLaurin, but I mean he's still been a phenomenal receiver.
Yeah.
So he gets behind the defense. He's one of those smaller guys that's just fast as heck and good hands. So
and that's another thing is though when I look at the Washington football team is good defense, but at wide receiver, they got Terry McLaurin, and they don't have a whole lot of else.
Yeah.
So
they don't even have a tight end really to speak
targets.
of.
Yeah, he's not going to be fighting for targets or anything like that. He's going to get his lion's share.
Yeah. I like him. Wide receiver 13. This is our last of the wide receiver 2 guys. So here we go. It's Mike Evans. He's wide receiver 6 in our 2020 power rankings. He finished in 16 games with 10 startable. 3 elite games. So that was actually pretty solid. I had him in our league last year. A couple of those elite games were what I called the deuces games. And this is deuces because he had 2 yards, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. And so it's a little deceiving.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, that was a little bit deceiving. He still did break 1,000 yards, but he barely did. And he only did that on 70 catches, so that's not great. He had 13 touchdowns, and that's really where his value came in last year, was at the touchdowns. So I have him here as a regression candidate, I think. And I don't think you can ignore that. That's a real possibility. Everybody knows about Godwin and how good he is, but we also know about he who shall not be named, who has been added to the roster, was added late last year, and started gobbling up some targets. You add in Scotty Miller and the fact that he's getting more involved, and I think that you see the Tom Brady effect possibly start to rein in Mike Evans. It's been a very long time since Tom Brady was with a big, wide receiver who was able to get down the field fast and make all the catches. And I don't think that's what they're going to lean on. I mean, 70 receptions last year, that's not great.
You still got 3 wide receiver or 3 tight ends that they're going to throw to as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gronkowski's going to eat up some of those targets in the red zone.
Cameron Braid's still there. Isn't O.J. Howard still there?
I think he is. I could check here really quick. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see him being such a great value this year. I think you're going to have to overpay to get him. So I'm just looking it up here really quick. You wanted to know who, O.J. Howard, right?
Yes. O.J. Howard.
Let's see really quickly. I've got it. So yeah, he's on there. So O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, and they've got 2 other tight ends. But I would imagine that those guys are on the bottom of the roster right now. I would bet. So, I mean, they got like 20 wide receivers on the roster at the moment. So I don't know if any of those guys are settled at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you going to do about it? Right. So hey guys, that's going to do it for this episode. That is our wide receiver 2 category. We're going to hit you with our wide receiver 1s starting tomorrow. And then we're going to finish that up on July 5th as well. Make sure you head over to ffbupside.com and grab our victory draft kit. It dropped today. While you're there, check out the merch store. You can get some really cool shirts. We got a bunch of different things. Last episode right here. Check it out. We'll see you later.
See ya.